during the phone call. I don't think I hung up with her until I talked to somebody else. I don't think she was going to let me off the phone until I got home. But my phone rang. I guess he had called when I was on the phone with her. And I said, oh, it's my doctor's office. I'll call you right back. So I picked up the phone, and it was my doctor, and he goes, so I hear, and this was at 5:30. This was after hours, and he knew, but he called me the minute he had a moment to call me.
Right.
And so he was prepared to sit on the phone with me for the rest of the night, or to sit there and say, because that's what he does. He works with people that are medication needing, and going through hard times and everything else. So he said, and he at this point had already known what was going on. Like I said, I was very in contact with the doctors during this whole thing. If people, doctors were amazing. My doctor was amazing. Both my doctors were. I will tell you, I did yell at my doctor one time because I said, can you just make this so I don't have to feel this anymore? Can you just put me on a medication that will make me completely numb? And he
knock me out, dog.
Like, just knock me out. Like, make me a mummy. I don't know what you have to do. Just get me normal. Like, get me not to have feeling.
Make that pain go away.
Yeah, make it go away. And he looked right at me and said, I will not do that. And I said, why? And he goes, because in order to grow, you have to go through the pain. And I went, fuck you. And he goes, well, okay. Yeah. He was like, and I was like, really? I was like, that's so unfucking fair. I was mad. I was like, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I'm done. I can't. And he's like, get off the internet. I'm like, that I will not get off the internet because these bitches and hoes want me to get off the internet, and I'm not getting. I mean, I was so all over the board. Like, nothing made sense that day. Anyway, and so I called, and so he knew that the bullying was going on and how severe it was affecting me and everything else. So when I called it, and that's when we were already talking about taking me off of the Adderall. But okay. I was saying that I needed the Adderall for work. And he goes like, well, as long as you're doing okay and you're maintaining your brain is maintaining it, then okay, we're gonna let you go with it. So that day, he said, so what have you eaten today? And I told him, and he goes, that's not good. And then he goes, did you take your Adderall? And I said, yeah, I'm on my Adderall, like what I take every day. And he's like, well, that stops today. And I went, really? And he goes, and I'm calling in a prescription right now, and you're going to pick it up tomorrow morning. And I went, okay. And he go, or whatever you can, because it was 5:30. So by the time I would have got there, it would have been closed because I couldn't have picked it up. So it was the next morning. So I went home. I came home, and I pretty much just fell in bed. Like I was just. I was like
exhausted of laying that all out.
Yeah, like everything that had, like I was just done. Like I didn't have any more fight in me. Like, or I still had the fight in me, but I was so angry and so mad at the world that I couldn't see anything but anger. And I went, I need to just stop. And so I came home, and my son said, are you okay? And I went right to my room, I think. And he goes, she's home. Everything is fine. She's here. I've got her keys. She can't go anywhere. They'd taken my keys. They'd done it as soon as I hit the door and my son saw me, he was like, okay, precaution members now. I'm like, he's like, here's all the precautionary measures that I have to take. No more this, no more this, no more this, no more this. No more rock stars in the morning, no more of all these things. And I was like, you all need to stop. And I was like, no, I'm not, I'm okay. And anyway, so the next morning I did not take my Adderall per doctor's orders. I always stayed on doctor's orders. And he called in a different medication, and he said, it's going to take about 2 weeks for you to start feeling differently. So I really kept to myself. I just, I stayed with my friends that knew that I was struggling, that I was mentally not okay. I was still making lives, but I was I was doing much less, I think, at that time, because everybody was at this point in time thought I was. I mean, everybody knew everybody knew I was writing my suicide note out online.
It was I don't know if that was at the same time that this was happening, but I don't know if you remember. You heard, I think Jane and Amy Conway heard me saying it, that I was worried about you, and I was like, where's Megan? Have anybody seen her live streams or seen her social media or whatnot? Because it was at one point of the case that you disappeared, and we were all worried about you.
I think, and so I disappeared twice. I one at the very beginning and then one in the end, because I needed time.
Yeah, I think it was the one at the end, because the one in the beginning I
I
kind
went
of
on
like
vacation.
knew.
I went on vacation. I went on vacation with my family for a week, and I tried to forget about everything. And that's when I tried to move on and everything else. But yeah, there was and so I started. And then the big changing point. I'll tell you, the big changing point was my dad, because I went to I wasn't hiding all of it from my father. But I wasn't telling him, I mean, I'm 46 years old. I don't need to go home and say, Daddy, I'm going through this. Please help, please help, please help. No. I made my bed. I had to lie in it. Like, this was on me. And so and there was no one could stop the train. There was no one, it was derailed as is.
The damage was already done, and you needed to deal with it how it came.
Yeah. So my dad looked right at me and said, and everybody had said this 1,000 times to me. And this is why I say it's the most important thing is that say what you mean and mean what you say. That's a thing that I say often. And my dad looked right at me and said, I don't care. I don't care what they say. You're my daughter. I know the truth. I know, the kids weren't at the party. You weren't at the party. You know that you didn't know Kiely. I don't know Kiely at all. And I don't care. Why do you care? And right. I went, huh? And he goes, and I love you anyway. You're my only daughter. Your brother's gone. You are the only one we have. And you are our, and did the whole, you're my daughter. And
yeah, like it don't matter what the internet will say, like nothing's gonna change. The love of a father.
Yeah,
amazing.
And so and like I said, everybody would say, everybody was telling me, you did nothing wrong, you're awesome, you did all this good, but they would say the same thing that my father had said to me, why do you care? I mean, people said, why do you keep watching? Why do you keep doing all these things? And between the medication and my father, it was like a calm came over me. And I was just like, you know what? I can fight. The hardest thing that I had to fight for was my sanity. Like, to judge because people were like, made me doubt myself. And that's really what frustrated me, is that I was like,
well, I gotta tell you straight up, Megan, and because I think you need to hear it. None of the information the army for Jesus, army of Jesus or whatnot, that lady, none of the information that lady brought to the table, it was none of that show either makes sense or accurate at all. Yeah. Like I just gotta let you know, because at least you know me, that I'm very analytical, very critical. I do pay attention and listen, and that's why at some point I felt, I don't know if you heard it, but I know Amy and Jane know. At one point, it got to the point that after the bottom line of my investigation and everything that I knew and whatnot, I had to come to YouTube and tell all my audience in the whole world, like, I exempt Megan and her family from all wrongdoing in this case, because it's nowhere in this case to find no wrongdoing coming out of Megan or her family against Kiely Rodni. Like, it is yeah, didn't took part on none of that shit. Like, not you, not your daughter, not your son, not your family members or whatnot. And that was clear in my investigation. Okay, that's why I had to come on YouTube, because I felt that, in the same way I said